Hello, everyone. Welcome back to English Thought. My name is Julie, and I'm truly happy you are here with me today. Before we begin, please take one small moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and share this podcast with someone who is learning English. Just like you, your support really helps this peaceful little community grow. Now take a slow, deep breath. Maybe you are resting after a long day, maybe drinking warm coffee late at night, maybe studying English quietly in your room, or maybe sitting near a window, watching the city lights outside. Wherever you are, I want you to relax and enjoy this slow English listening journey. With me tonight, we are going to talk about something very important. Something that many people feel nervous about. Job interviews, yes. That small room, that uncomfortable chair, that moment when someone looks at you and says, "So, tell me about yourself." And suddenly, your mind becomes empty, your hands feel cold, and even simple English feels difficult. Maybe this happened to you before. Maybe you are preparing for your first interview, or maybe you dream about working in America one day. Maybe you want a remote job. Maybe you want a better future for yourself and your family. And if that is true, then tonight's story is for you, because learning English is not only about grammar, it is also about confidence, about believing that your voice matters, about understanding that you are capable of more than you think. So tonight I want to tell you a story, a calm little story, about a young man named Daniel. Daniel was 24 years old. He lived in a small apartment in Chicago. Not a fancy apartment, just a quiet little place with old walls, a tiny kitchen, and one small window near his bed. Every morning, Daniel woke up early, not because he loved mornings. No, actually, he hated waking up early, but he worked at a grocery store, and his shift started at 6 in the morning. His job was simple: putting boxes on shelves, cleaning the floor, helping customers find things. Sometimes people were kind, sometimes people were rude. And every night when Daniel came home tired, he sat near his window, looked at the city lights, and thought, quietly, there must be something more for me. Maybe you understand this feeling, that strange feeling in your heart, when you know you want a better life, but you are not sure how to reach it. Daniel wanted an office job, a calm job, a job where he could use English professionally, a job where people respected him. But there was one problem. He was afraid of interviews, very afraid. The last interview he had was 2 years ago, and it went terribly. The manager asked him, "What are your strengths?" And Daniel froze completely. He looked at the table, sweated nervously, and said, "I don't know." After that day, Daniel lost confidence. He started believing something dangerous. He started believing, "I'm not smart enough." And sometimes people carry these quiet, painful thoughts for years, not because they are true, but because fear repeats them again and again inside the mind. One rainy evening, Daniel was sitting in a coffee shop after work. Outside, cars moved slowly through wet streets. Inside, soft jazz music played quietly, and near him sat an older woman with silver hair and warm eyes. She noticed Daniel, looking stressed. She smiled gently and asked, "Long day?" Daniel laughed softly. "Yeah, very long." Then somehow, without planning it, he started talking to her about work, about feeling stuck, about interviews, about fear. The woman listened carefully. Then she said something simple. Something Daniel never forgot, she said. "Most interviews are not tests of perfection. They are conversations." Daniel looked surprised. "Conversations?" "Yes," she smiled. "People are not looking for a perfect robot. They are looking for a real human being." That sentence stayed inside Daniel's mind for days. A real human being, not a perfect robot. And honestly, many English learners forget this. They try so hard to sound perfect. Perfect grammar, perfect pronunciation, perfect answers. But real communication is not perfect. Real communication is warm, natural, human. A few weeks later, Daniel saw a job post online. customer support assistant, a small tech company, remote work, flexible hours, good salary, and suddenly his heart started beating fast. He wanted this job badly, but fear returned immediately. What if I fail again? Still, something inside him whispered softly, try one more time. So Daniel clicked the apply button, and after 3 days he received an email. Interview scheduled for Friday at 2 p.m. The moment he saw that email, his stomach dropped. He felt nervous immediately. Maybe you know this feeling too, that nervous energy before something important. The night before the interview, Daniel could not sleep. He walked around his apartment, practicing answers quietly. Tell me about yourself. My name is Daniel. No, no, no. That sounds bad. Then again, my strengths are. No, that sounds strange too. Hours passed and Daniel became more stressed. Finally, at midnight, he sat quietly near his window. The city outside looked peaceful, and he remembered the old woman's words. It's just a conversation, not a performance, not a movie scene, just people talking. Slowly, Daniel relaxed. The next day, he wore a simple blue shirt, clean black pants, combed his hair carefully, and opened his laptop for the online interview. His hands shook slightly. Then, suddenly, the meeting started. A woman appeared on the screen. She smiled warmly. Hi, Daniel. Nice to meet you. Daniel took a small breath. Hi. Nice to meet you too. The interviewer's name was Sarah, and surprisingly, she looked very normal, not scary, not cold, just a regular person drinking coffee in front of her computer. This is something important too. Remember, interviewers are humans too. Sometimes we imagine them like powerful judges, but many interviewers are tired, busy, hungry, or stressed too. They are simply trying to find a good person for the job. Sarah smiled and asked, So Daniel, tell me a little about yourself. This question is famous. Almost every interview begins this way, and many people panic. But Daniel remembered something he practiced. Keep it simple, keep it natural. So he smiled softly and said, My name is Daniel. I currently work at a grocery store in Chicago. I've worked there for 3 years, and during that time, I learned how to communicate with many different people. I enjoy helping customers, solving problems, and working calmly under pressure. Now I'm looking for a new opportunity where I can grow professionally and improve my communication skills even more. Sarah nodded. That's great. And Daniel suddenly realized something shocking. He was doing okay. Not perfect, but okay. And sometimes okay is enough. Sarah asked another question. Why do you want this job? Daniel thought carefully. Then he answered honestly, I like helping people. And I think customer support is important because people remember how you make them feel. I also want to continue improving my English and communication skills. Simple, clear, honest, that is powerful English, not complicated words, not difficult grammar, just honest communication. The interview continued slowly. Sometimes Daniel felt nervous. Sometimes he forgot small words, but instead of panicking, he stayed calm. And this changed everything. At one point, Sarah asked, What is one of your weaknesses? Many people hate this question, but Daniel answered carefully. Sometimes I overthink things because I want to do my work correctly. But recently I've been learning how to stay more calm and organized. That answer was honest, balanced, human. And remember this, good interview answers do not need to sound perfect. They just need to sound real. After 30 minutes, the interview ended. Sarah smiled kindly. Thank you, Daniel. We'll contact you soon. Daniel closed his laptop slowly, then sat in silence. The apartment was quiet. And for the first time in years, he felt proud of himself. Not because he got the job, he still didn't know, but because he faced his fear, and sometimes that is already a victory. 3 days later, Daniel was walking home from work. The evening sky was orange and gold. His phone buzzed in his pocket. He opened the email nervously, and there it was. We are happy to offer you the position. Daniel stopped walking. Cars moved around him. People passed by. But for one small moment, the world felt still. He smiled quietly, then laughed softly to himself. because life can change slowly, then suddenly, and maybe right now you are also standing before a new chapter in your life. Maybe you are learning English after work every night. Maybe you feel tired sometimes. Maybe progress feels slow. But listen carefully. Small progress is still progress. Every word you learn matters. Every sentence you practice matters. Every uncomfortable moment helps you grow. You do not need perfect English to succeed. You need courage, patience, and practice. Now let's imagine another little scene. Together, imagine you are sitting in a small cafe in New York. Rain touches the window softly. You have your laptop open. Tomorrow is your interview. You feel nervous, but deep inside you also feel hope. You practice slowly. Tell me about yourself. My name is, I have experience in, I enjoy learning. And with every sentence, your confidence grows a little more. This is how confidence works. Not suddenly, not magically. Confidence grows quietly like sunrise in the morning, slowly, softly, little by little. And one day you realize you are no longer the same person. Sometimes people think fluent English means speaking very fast. But actually, good communication is calm, clear, and peaceful. Even native speakers pause. Sometimes, even native speakers make mistakes. So when you practice English, please do not hate yourself for being imperfect. Learning a language is already brave, especially as an adult, especially when life is busy, especially when you are tired, and yet you continue learning. That is something beautiful. Daniel understood this too a few months after getting the new job. His life slowly changed. He worked from home now. His mornings became quieter. He bought a small plant for his desk. He started drinking coffee slowly before work. Sometimes he looked outside his apartment window and smiled because he remembered the old version of himself, the scared version, the version who believed he was not enough. And honestly, sometimes growth is invisible until one day you look back and realize you survived things that once terrified you. One afternoon, Daniel had a video meeting with a new employee named Maria. Maria looked extremely nervous. Her voice shook slightly. Sorry, my English is not perfect. Daniel smiled warmly. That's okay. Mine isn't perfect either. Maria laughed softly, and suddenly the atmosphere became relaxed. This is something powerful. When people feel safe, their English improves naturally. Fear blocks communication, but comfort opens it. That is why I always want this podcast to feel peaceful for you. No pressure, no judgment, just learning slowly together like friends talking late at night. Now I want to share a few simple interview phrases with you naturally, not like a textbook, but like real life. Imagine the interviewer asks, "Tell me about yourself." You can say, "My name is Anna, and I currently work in retail. I enjoy helping customers and learning new skills." Simple, natural, professional. If they ask, "Why do you want this job?" You can say, "I want to grow professionally and improve my communication skills," or "I enjoy working with people, and I think this position matches my strengths." Again, simple English is powerful English. And if you do not understand a question during an interview, that is okay too. You can politely say, "Could you repeat the question, please?" Or, "Sorry, could you say that one more time?" This is normal, very normal. Even native speakers ask this sometimes. Please remember, an interview is not only English practice, it is also emotional practice. You are learning how to stay calm under pressure, how to breathe slowly, how to believe in yourself. And these skills help in every part of life: relationships, friendships, work, dreams, everything. Late one evening, Daniel visited the same coffee shop again. The rain outside looked beautiful. And suddenly he saw the older woman again, the woman who once told him, "It's just a conversation." She smiled when she recognized him. "Well, how did the interview go?" Daniel smiled warmly. "I got the job." The woman laughed softly. "I knew you could do it." Daniel sat quietly for a moment, then asked, "How did you know?" The woman looked outside the window peacefully. "Because most people fail before they even try. But you tried." That sentence stayed with Daniel forever, and maybe it can stay with you too. Because there are millions of people who dream quietly but never take action. Fear stops them, doubt stops them, embarrassment stops them, but every time you practice English, every time you speak, every time you continue learning, even when it feels uncomfortable, you are already moving forward slowly. But truly, maybe one day you will sit in your own office, or your own apartment, or your own little workspace, and remember these difficult learning days, and you will smile because you kept going. The world today moves very fast. People scroll quickly, talk quickly, live quickly. But learning deeply takes time. A peaceful mind learns better. A relaxed heart remembers more. So please, do not rush yourself. Speak slowly, think slowly, grow slowly. There is no race. Your journey is your own. And honestly, there is something beautiful about slow progress, like walking home at sunset, like warm coffee on a cold evening, like quiet music after midnight. Not everything needs to happen quickly. Daniel learned this too. At his new job, he still made mistakes sometimes. One day, he accidentally sent the wrong email. Another day, he misunderstood instructions. And yes, he felt embarrassed. But instead of thinking, "I'm terrible," he started thinking, "I'm learning." That small mental change changed everything, because successful people are not people who never fail. They are people who continue after failure. Now, maybe you are listening to this while preparing for your own interview. Maybe tomorrow is your interview day. If so, I want you to remember something tonight. You do not need to sound like a movie character. You do not need difficult words. You do not need perfect grammar. You only need to communicate clearly and honestly. Take small breaths, speak slowly, smile gently. And remember, the interviewer already saw something good in you. That is why they invited you. Sometimes we forget this important detail. An interview invitation already means opportunity, already means possibility, already means hope. Outside Daniel's apartment, winter slowly disappeared, spring arrived softly, trees became green again, the air felt warmer, and one quiet Sunday morning, Daniel sat near his window drinking coffee. The city looked peaceful, birds moved across the sky, and for the first time in a long time, he felt calm about the future, not because life became perfect. No, life is never perfect, but because he finally trusted himself a little more, and trust grows slowly, one brave moment at a time. Maybe tonight you can begin trusting yourself too. Maybe your English is improving more than you realize. Maybe your voice matters more than you think. Maybe your future is already quietly changing, even now, as you sit here listening. Before we finish tonight, I want you to close your eyes for one small moment. Imagine yourself entering an interview calmly, your shoulders relaxed, your breathing slow, your voice clear and peaceful. Imagine yourself answering confidently, not perfectly, but naturally. Imagine yourself smiling after the interview ends, feeling proud. Because you tried, because you showed up, because you refused to give up on yourself. And honestly, that courage already makes you special. Thank you so much for spending this peaceful time with me tonight. Thank you for learning English with me, step by step, sentence by sentence, dream by dream. And if nobody told you this recently, I want to tell you now. You are improving, you are growing, and your future still holds many beautiful possibilities. Keep practicing, keep believing, and keep moving forward. Slowly, I'll be here with you again very soon for another peaceful English listening journey. Until then, take care of yourself, drink some water, get some rest, and remember, your voice deserves to be heard. Good night, my friends, and thank you for being part of English Thought.